Oh, definitely. I'm still doing the broadcast. Maybe you could go to my YouTube and find it. Kenji Shiratsuki. Same as my character name, and it is showing that I am on air live. According to my phone. It should work. Maybe. If you just YouTube search, yeah. Let me know when you can see my glowy weapon. This is a star globe. It is a weapon of an astrologian, one of the best healers in the game. No, this is my, Yeah, you can be all jobs at any given moment. You don't have to make a separate character for a separate class. See? Now I'm a paladin. And that is a glowy weapon. No. In fact, you see right here, these are my job levels. I am a level max gladiator, lancer, archer, rogue, arcanist, and astrologian. This allows me to, arcanist is a, for summoner and scholar. Summoner is a DPS, scholar is a healer. Rogue turns into ninja, which is a melee DPS. Archer is ranged physical DPS. It becomes bard. Lancer becomes dragoon, which is melee DPS. And gladiator becomes paladin, the tank. I also have a couple of crafting classes at max and one fisher at max. Because cats need their fish. Cat girls even more so. So, this, by the way, this is our free company home. This little nook of lavender beds is where our free company calls home. It's like a guild. These are instanced areas, but there are other people's areas here. Basically, there's a, what do they call it? something. Subdivision. There's normal and there's subdivision. And those are two different layouts of the same area. And there's different wards. And each ward is a different instance of that area. So they have a lot of different housing areas. You have to know what ward they're in and then what plot they're on in order to find somebody. So, I'm going to show you basically how Paladin plays on this striking dummy. It's not going to give you a great idea of defensive capabilities because it doesn't hit back. But at least I can show you the basic how to fight. You auto-attack. Normally, auto-attacks are very, very, very weak. And they're generally not good. As a paladin, you have... Here it is. You have two stances. Sword Oath and Shield Oath. Now, in Stormblood, when Early Access starts on the 16th, Paladin is going to have a new gauge called the Oath gauge. When you're in either Oath, it gives you a gauge that builds up. When in Sword Oath, it builds up as you auto-attack. And you can see my damage kind of doubled. I get 2 attacks. One after the first attack. That's because I'm in Sword Oath. That attack can crit independently, as you just saw, of the regular attack. In Shield Oath, you only gain Oath gauge by being hit. Now, none of those gauges are in the game right now, but they're all being added, and they're going to be very, very important when Stormblood releases. They're basically doing a whole rework of the combat system, because it was broken as hell, and not interesting enough. Yeah, basically right now a lot of things are not going to change. At least for the first 50 levels, a lot of things are not going to change, but life will get much better when Stormblood releases. The gauges will help you keep track of the resources you already have, and give some classes like Paladin new resources that they can use. So the basic combos for all classes are going to remain mostly the same. There are only a few quality of life changes there. This is the basic attack combo: Fast Blade, Savage Blade, and Rage of Hellonic. That is your enmity combo. If you actually look at the action, Fast Blade just does damage. Savage Blade says, delivers an attack with a potency of 100, which is less than Fast Blade. But, if you combo it off of Fast Blade, it gives combo potency 200. So, instead of dealing 100, or wrong ability, if I do Savage Blade alone, see 420, 527, crit for 800, but if I do Fast Blade, that's already 800, crit for 12, 800. Then if I do Savage Blade off of that, crit for 17, Fast Blade, Savage Blade, hit for 1,000, you see? So, it always does more damage, and you can see which actions combo with the handy-dandy perforated lines around each of the ability boxes. I love that skill. Royal Authority. This is another combo, Riot Blade. Gives you back MP. Goring Blade puts a dot on the enemy. Some off-global cooldowns are Spirits Within, which does damage based on your current HP. The more HP you have, the better. So, essentially you get, the damage falls off as you have more missing health. So use that when you're at full health. Circle of Scorn puts a dot on all the enemies and gives increased enmity generation. Flash is just AoE enmity, no damage at all. You spam that a lot. You could say paladins like to flash their enemies. There's not very many things that share cooldowns other than the global cooldown, but one of the main things about the game is weaving. So for example, that was weaving. I wove Spirits Within in between Fast Blade and Savage Blade, and in between Savage Blade and Rage of Halon, I did Circle of Scorn. You basically use off-global cooldowns in between global cooldowns. And the gap between when you can't do anything because you're waiting for your GCD. You've also got tons of buffs like Awareness, prevents you from being crit. Bulwark makes your blocking way more likely. Rampart, everybody's going to get that now. It's going to become a cross-roll ability. Foresight going away. Sentinel is great. Sentinel is like a 40% damage reduction for 10 seconds. Of course, the best ability in the game, in my opinion, for tanks, is this. Hollowed Ground. For 10 seconds, I can't be hit. Or rather, for 10 seconds, you can hit me, but you'll deal 0 damage. Or planned, it can be planned. It can be like, okay, boss is going to hit me with something really big. Some people are down. I want to give the healers a chance to raise everybody else. So, Hallowed Ground, ignore healing me for 10 seconds, and then I heal myself. Pretty much. Essentially, you use your enmity combo, Savage Blade, Rage of Cologne, to generate enmity. If I was in a party, you would be able to... Well, actually, I can do that. Hold on a second. I can't summon my companion here. Essentially, if the party bar was up, you'd be able to see everyone's enmity according to the current target. Like you can see the current target's enmity list in relation to your party members. So, yeah, no guesswork involved. You can see who's like, let's say you have a light party of 4 people. That's 1 tank, 2 DPS, and a healer is a light party. If you had that, you'd be able to see 2 through 4 who has the most enmity, and A would be who has aggro, which is hopefully you as the tank. And that's how it works. There's also a meter that shows you who's the balance of enmity, and if anybody gets close to having their meter filled, then you need to generate more enmity. Or tell them to use an ability to reduce their enmity generation, which there are abilities for DPS that do that. Immediately coming to mind is Bard's Quelling Strikes. So there's that. There's no guesswork involved. Oh, additionally, you saw the enemy list on the left. The red box means you have aggro. If it's in orange, sort of like a shield mark, then you're close to having aggro. If it's in sort of upside down shield, like an upside down kite shield that's yellow, that means you're getting close. And then it goes down to green and blue. So obviously you can tell as a tank, if they're not all red flashing boxes, you're not taking all of the enemy. That gives you a broad idea of who has what mobs on them. The specifics are, of course, as I said, per target. So if I had 2 targets and I switched between them, I could see exactly whose enemy levels are where on that target. very, very useful. The only thing that they don't have in this game without mods, and I hate that people keep begging for this because it's not really that important, is a parser, DPS parser. If you don't know how to optimally use your abilities, then you're already a bad player. This is Ninja, and by the way, this is special gear. This is based on Garo, a anime. And right now, they're having a PvP event where if you do PvP, you can get the dyeable versions of the Garo gear and basically look like the knights from Garo. Ninja's getting some good changes in 4.0, but the basics are still going to be the same. Almost all the combos are going to be the same. The positional requirements are going to be the same. For example, Aeolian Edge does way more damage from behind the target. It even gives a different sound effect. You're still going to have stuff like Dream Within a Dream and Duality, which doubles the next weapon skill, but it can't crit. You're also going to still have the Mudras and Ninjutsus, but Ninja is going to get a futon gauge. So instead of that little thing up at the top left that on above the striking dummies HP percent, that's at 53, 52, counting down, instead you're going to have a pinwheel which shows you both the number and a circular gauge counting down to the ability wearing off. And you can refresh it by using Armor Crush with it on its combo. It combos off of Gust and Slash. And that just refreshes it by, I believe, 30 seconds. Instead of having to actually recast it. So you can use all your ninjutsu on Raiton or Katon. So you're going to get cool stuff like that. Also, one important thing about ninjutsu is it can help you do some really cool stuff. Especially, let me get that back. If you use Kenji Jin, you get Suiton. That doesn't do very much damage, but it lets you use things that require you to be hidden. For example, Trick Attack. Hit the enemy from behind, it gives them vulnerability up for several seconds. They take more damage from everything, from all party members. So ninjas can essentially make the enemy take way more damage for everything from everyone's openers. So a lot of people will time their openers to have the most amount of damage within a 10-second window, so they can start that right when the ninja's going to trick attack. So there's that. There's a lot of raid utility in Ninja. Some of it is getting shifted to just being melee cross-roll support. Like for example, where is it? Goad. Goad gives another party member, someone else in your party, TP regeneration. You notice that as I was fighting, my TP was going down. The gauge on the bottom right. If I keep spamming throwing daggers or Death Blossom, then it will eventually go down to nothing, and I'll have to stop attacking and let it recover. But if someone throws me a goad, I can keep spamming. You also get a really cool ninja, Shikuchi, which teleports you and gets reset. Well, in 4.0 it will get reset whenever you use Raiton. So I can imagine teleporting away, using Raiton, teleporting back in fight. I can't show you Bard, unfortunately, because all my Bard gear is on loan to one of my retainers. You can actually take your... I should show you the retainer system real quick. Oh, That's right, I can summon mounts here too. I'm going to show you Griffin. Okay. I will tell you this. It depends on what you consider grinding. If you consider going through the main scenario quest to grind, you may want to buy a jump potion. If you actually want to experience a decent story in an MMO, possibly a great story for an MMO, it is. Exactly. The grind is not bad if you are a paladin or if you are a tank or a healer, because queues are basically instant for dungeons. You can level entirely through dungeons and not do a single quest, because you'll almost always get a queue. Yes. It's interesting that you probably want to level a DPS class of any kind, magic, physical, melee, when you're going through the story, just because you will get most of your experience from quests themselves and not the dungeons. And in fact, you can play a dungeon as a tank if you have it leveled, just to get a fast queue, and then switch back to your DPS for the reward from the quest from the dungeon. The dungeon EXP will all be on your tank, but the actual quest reward will be on whatever you turn it in as. So it doesn't lock the quests to your the class that completed each step of the quest. You can hire and name. As you can see, I named all mine Kitty Mew something, because I am completely uninventive. And you can give them ventures to go do, basically, go get me stuff. Here I pay you these things that I got from doing stuff myself. You go get me things. You can give them a class and later a job. I made mine a bard. He's currently at max level. And you can actually give them all of the stuff that you would otherwise wear. So all of my bard gear is actually right here. This is the set that I would be wearing. Except for the right side here. These are not the accessories I would wear. I kept those for my other dexterity-based classes like ninja. But, darn it, I want to actually show you that weapon. Oh well. Basically, the idea of retainers is you can have them go adventuring and doing stuff to get you bonus items and gil, while you're actually doing more productive work. And additionally, they will hold stuff for you. They're basically your bank slots. They will also sell stuff for you. Unfortunately, you can't move things between retainers directly. You have to take them out and then put them back in. They don't have the system that incorporated yet because of how it's coded. And to recode that would make a lot of work for them for one quality of life change. So I just keep mine organized. Like, what I do to avoid the problem that Andrew has with being a dragon and hoarding everything is that I base what retainer I put things in on what is classified as. Stones, for example, if it's a stone, I put it in this retainer. If it's an ingredient, I put it in that retainer. And I kind of gauge what I put where based on how much of the things, of each class of things, I'm actually going to have to keep on me. so that I don't go over their 170 slots midway through one type of item. It took a while, like a couple of hours, to organize them like that because I had so much stuff. But if you do it right from the get-go, it's much easier. By default, you get 2 retainers for free. You can hire up to an additional 6, I believe, for about $2 a month extra in addition to your subscription fee. I have 3 extras. But you don't have to. They are adding more inventory to everyone. Which is... We're very, very happy about that. Apparently it was mainly a server issue, that because the North American servers were so shit, they couldn't actually expand inventory because the load would be too much. So now that they moved the North American servers to an actually good location, they can do it. Well, the good thing is that instead of only 25 slots in each armory chest tab, we're going to have 35. And this is basically all of the gear that you would wear, you put in armory chest. So, my steel claymore from Dark Knight, that's in here. The Raimi doublet of crafting that I wear on some of my crafters that aren't 60 yet, it's in here. Same with my Gatherer's Dalmalskin vest. All that stuff's in here. Even my glamour is in here. The High Summoner's dress is Yuna's outfit from Final Fantasy X, and that's what I use on Astrologian, my healer. It'd be better glamour on White Mage, of course, because staff. But, hey. I also have Lightning's outfit from FF13. And her weapon. I like it, and I like Lightning, so the naysayers can say their nays, but I like Lightning. Dark Knight is another tank, actually. Not a DPS, as you might have thought. And they have pretty much the same thing, except that they're going to have a blood gauge. They tank slightly differently. By the way, I'm going to miss a ton because this thing is level 60 and I'm level 30. But, their main thing is they deal a ton of damage in addition to being tanks. This expansion, they were introduced and they were essentially the magic tank. The problem with that was they put so much magic damage in the game that the paladin became useless. Huh? Yeah, it's early access is on the 16th. Well, the good thing is, well, if you have the game, let's see, how should I do this? Here's the deal. If you get the complete edition, you do not get early access. It's $60. It includes the base game and the 2 expansions, Heaven's Word and Stormblood. If you instead buy the base game and then pre-order the expansion, you get both expansions with your pre-order of the new one. Every copy of Stormblood includes the previous expansion, Heaven's Word. If you already have Heaven's Word, it just upgrades you to Stormblood. There's no discount. Yeah, you can pre-order the new expansion, however, and you can also pre-order the complete edition. But if you pre-order the complete edition, you will not be able to play until the 20th of June. Okay. But you have it for PC, so you would only be able to play on PC. That's fine, and you can use a controller on PC, and in fact I do. It plays way better with a controller than a keyboard. Just because if you hold R2, you get these on the face buttons and the D-pad. You hold L2, you get these. If you double tap R2, you get these on the face buttons only. If you double tap L2, you get those on the face buttons. If you press R2 then L2, you get these on the 8 buttons in the front. If you hold L2 then R2, you get another set. So you have 32 plus 8, 40 buttons you can access with just the triggers and the face buttons on the D-pad. If you need to push more than 40 buttons, you're playing the game wrong. You should not need to press more than 40 buttons. In addition, you can actually switch between 8 different hotbars. And in fact, the double tap R2 and double tap L2 and R2 to L2, etc., those are all switching to different hotbars. So when I do R2 to L2, it shows me this palette here. If I do L2 to R2, it's showing me this palette here, no matter what palette I'm on. So essentially you can access 2.5 of your palettes from any of your palettes, which is nice. And there are also shared palettes. That's why some of the numbers have an outline. 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all shared between all of your jobs, whereas 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, at least on my setup, are only for the specific job that you are on. So those buttons will all change when I switch to Validant. Whereas the hotkeys here on 8 are still the same. So it's really nice to use a controller mainly because you have to move a lot to avoid AoE and stuff. And if you are, even if you are a mage with cast times, I'll show you. Even if you are a black mage, and you have to cast fire, and thunder, and have all these cast times, and if you move, it gets interrupted. You do have something called Scathe, which you can cast as you move to avoid AoE. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it's something to do while you're moving. So you're not standing idle, you're just running idly. You can always be doing something while you're moving on every job. Even on melee, who are, they almost all of them have a ranged attack. Monk is the only one that doesn't have a ranged move. Instead, they have a gap closer, they have shoulder tackle. You activate it, it makes you rush to the target and hit them. So it's really convenient to have a controller because you have that home move while hitting buttons thing much easier than using the WSA and D keys and having to tap stuff on the side of your gaming mouse stuff. It's just smoother. I think they really built the game for controller, knowing that they were going to release it on console. And the other thing is, it natively recognizes both DualShock 3 and DualShock 4 controllers. You do not have to have codecs, or, you don't have to have codecs loaded for them, or drivers. You don't have to have drivers loaded for them at all. All you have to do is plug it in with a USB cable, and it will recognize it, because the drivers are built into the game itself. So, it works perfectly. Good. Are there... Okay. Are there any jobs that you're interested in already that you want to see roughly how they play at high level? Okay. Okay. I will... Yeah. I'll give you 2 hints, though. There is something called Hall of the Novice, and this allows you to see basically how to play a DPS, or how to play a tank, or how to play a healer. And they give you scenarios with NPCs to heal, or to guard, or to kill, etc., to teach you how to play your role in a party situation without having you interact with other people. We need a Hall of the Intermediate. Because there are still black mages who don't know that they have something called Fire 3. Or they see Fire 3 and think it's automatically better to spam that than Fire 1, and it's not. Because they have a trait. Every 40% of the time you cast Fire 1, you get a free instant cast Fire 3. No MP cost, no cast time. The biggest thing... The biggest thing is read your abilities. They're right here. If you read the tooltips on all of these abilities, you'll see how they interact with each other. There's actions. For basic jobs like Dragoon that have a class associated with them, which is a holdover from the 1.0 release of the game, they couldn't get rid of that. They wanted to, but they couldn't. You have most things in your actions up to level 50. Then everything is in your job. You can read all of these abilities to figure out how they work. There's also traits. Hold on a sec. Okay. Yeah, all the mechanics are explained here. You just have to read the damn tooltips. And so many people just rush in thinking they can do whatever. If you read the tooltips, it will basically explain to you how to do your job. And a little bit of tooling around with it on a training dummy is going to make things a lot easier. The other tip is this place, Quarry Mill, is teeming with people, even though it's a level 20 area, because of this. This is the Deep Dungeon Palace of the Dead. Here you level independently of the main game. You start at level 1 every time you enter the palace. Or if you have unlocked the upper floors of 51 through 100, then you start at level 60. You have to have Heaven's Word for that. Yes, it is a roguelike. You level up very rapidly, and you gain all abilities associated with your job, whether they would normally be lost behind quests. You get them anyway, as soon as you're at the level that they're available for, all traits, etc., etc. So basically, yeah, when you complete it, you get experience that transfers to your permanent job. So you can actually level a job by playing Palace of the Dead. That said, it will not teach you how to party play with your job, because the enemies here are weak as shit. And if you're strong like me and have a, like 76, 75 Aether Pool, I could go through 1 to 50 solo. And they make you confirm twice that you want to go in solo. Because it's not meant to be done solo, but there is an achievement for it. So it's possible to be done solo. But essentially, coming here and running through a party of randoms in Palace of the Dead, or friends if you have people on, can help you level a job really fast and give you a good idea of how to play it. At least how the mechanics work with each other. So, I would highly recommend that after 4.0 hits, come here, try all the jobs out that you want, especially if you have the expansion already, because then you'll be able to get to 60, and just play what jives with you. Bard is going to get changed utterly from how it plays now. Now both Bard and Machinist have cast times on their abilities in exchange for getting 50% more damage. They're removing that entirely. They're removing that whole mechanic. Now Bards cast their songs on a target, and they only last a certain amount of time. During that time, you get a bonus for critically hitting with your dots. Bard's main thing is that they have 2 dots they place on a target, and they shoot tons of arrows, hoping for crits. Every time they get a crit, they can get a proc. In 4.0's Bard, the songs are going to have different procs, depending on which song is playing. Some will increase your attack speed. Some will increase, some will reset a certain ability that only can fire every 15 seconds. And the third one will give you a stack that you can expend on a new ability called Pitch Perfect. And it looks a lot more fun than Bard is now. Not that Bard is boring now, but it's just a lot more fun and very mobile. Their support abilities of being able to regenerate people's MP and TP over time are now cross-roll abilities. So they're basically pop it for 30 seconds, people regenerate MP or TP, 3-minute cooldown, no problems. Just put them somewhere on your bar, healers call for MP, pop it, and keep going. No more, okay, I gotta turn on Mage's Ballad, and then it'll drain my MP over time until it's done, and then it'll turn itself off. So if I've already used up my MP, the healers are basically screwed. No more of that. It's just a cooldown. Makes things much easier for bards. One thing I do want to show you before I let you go is the emotes. Specifically these. Battle Stance and Victory. And it's different for every single job. That's the best part. If you're playing Black Mage, then you get this. And this. Which is basically Shantoto from Final Fantasy XI. She had that oh ho 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 laugh. The, what do they call it? Ojo-sama laugh. The domineering queen kind of one. This is just Cloud Strife. That's why my glamour is Cloud Strife. Because the both animations, like this is Cloud's battle victory animation from 7. They literally did that for Dark Knight. It's like, hey, they're using a two-handed sword. Let's give them clouds animations. Okay. That was their thought process. And, Astrologian. By the way, the cards are because they're basically fortune tellers. They read the stars and do tarot cards. Yes, of course. And they have limited control over time magic, so when they heal, they're actually unmaking the wounds as if they never happened. Because they're changing fate. Yeah, there's one data center. There are many different servers. If you are in a different server, you can't directly interact with us, but they have something called the cross... Yeah. Well, basically the data center is a physical location where all of the servers are housed. The servers are the different overworld instances where you can't interact with somebody on another server directly. However, if you're someone on your same data center, but not your same world, like right here, these, this is showing the parties that are seeking only in my world. This is showing the parties who are seeking across the entire data center. They've added this recently where you can put up a party cross data center because they already had the ability to queue into the duty finder, basically like the raid finder from WoW, and get a pickup group, pug, from your entire data center. But you could only form a pre-made party with people on your world. Now you can form a pre-made party with people on your entire data center with no restrictions. Yeah. If you join the European data center on any server, you'll be able to play with us. If you want to actually join our free company and walk around in-game with us, you have to go to Zodiac specifically. Okay. I will text you the name of the server on Skype so that you have it. Spelling and everything. Oh, wait, I was showing you the animations real quick. Because scholars, books. And yes, you can beat people on the head with a book. That's their attack. I love Paladin. They have some of the best animations. Not to mention that in the expansion, Paladin's getting literally the best ability ever since Hallowed Ground. They're getting something called Passage of Arms. Essentially, you stick your sword in the ground behind you, hold up your shield in front of you, and brace. Behind you, extend two glowing blue wings made of like little blue lines, like they're like it's something somebody painted on stained glass, and there's this glowing area on the ground behind you where if anybody stands in it, they take 15% less damage. And your block rate is increased to 100% for the duration. And it's a channeled ability, so you can stand, as long as you stand still and do nothing else, you can maintain it for a good 18 seconds. That makes a huge difference. Nobody has anything like that skill currently in the game. So that's going to make Paladin the go-to tank, I think. So if you like tanking, Paladin might be the job for you. And I will be very happy to give you tips on Paladin because I'm probably one of the more skilled Paladins on the server. I didn't have the gear to prove it or the raid experience to prove it, so nobody believed me, but I know how to play my job very well. So that's basically it. One interesting thing is if you like crafting, the crafting is very interesting because when you actually go to do the crafting of something, you use these different abilities to boost both a quality gauge and a progress gauge. When the progress gauge hits 100%, you finish the item. But everything costs durability, and if the durability of your materials goes to 0 at any point, except if it hits 100% progress at the same time, the item cannot be crafted and it breaks. So it's not something I've encountered in anything else, except maybe EverQuest 2 is sort of like it. But in EverQuest 2 you had to use the abilities in time, and they were very simple. This is more complex, and you have an unlimited amount of time to decide what your next action is. So you can really sit and plan and say, okay, I have enough CP for this, and if I do that. So, if you like in-depth crafting systems, this has got one. One advantage of having all crafters at 60, which I'm trying to do, is that you can repair your own gear with dark matter, rather than going to an NPC repair. And you can do this in instances as well. So if you forget to go repair and your stuff is breaking, you can repair it in dungeon. There's not a single dungeon that's going to take you from 100% to 0 durability. But if you forget to repair, that could make a big difference. So that's why I want all 60 crafters so that I can repair all of my own gear, and I don't have to go to repair NPCs. The thing is, you can repair gear that's 10 levels above your current level of your job. So as a level 60 weaver, I can repair level 70 gear. There is no level 70 gear yet, but when it gets added, I can repair it. So that's why I'm trying to get 60 on all crafters. So it's something to consider. It's not necessarily something you have to do, but if you like the convenience of not having to go to an NPC repair, it might be worth investing the time, because you'll make money doing it too. People do use crafted gear. So I think that is it. And I need to get packing, because Mom's giving me dirty looks like, you promised to help me pack. I'm doing all the work here. Alright, I'll probably talk to you on here again when I get back to America. Alright. Bye.